Hi class, in this video I'll show you a few problems from the section 3.2 homework, reducing to linear form. Section 3.2 introduces harder equations than what we have been doing in class. And so this video I'll go through some of these harder examples, but please let me know if you have questions because some of these equations can get difficult. Okay, let's start with this first one. -6 times t plus 3 equals 18. The first thing I need you to do is multiply -6 to both of those terms on the inside of the parentheses. It's -6t minus 18 equals 18. And now we'll solve the equation by adding 18 to both sides. -6t equals 36. Divide by -6. And t equals -6. To check our solution, we could say -6 times -6 plus 3 equals 18. Orders of operation would have us combine -6 and +3 together first. -6 times -3, that does equal a positive 18, so t equals -6. Okay, take a look at this one. 21 minus the quantity y plus 2 equals 4. Anytime you have a subtraction sign in front of a binomial that's in a parenthesis, you're subtracting both parts of that binomial. You're subtracting the y and you're subtracting the 2. In class, I have you rewrite an equation like this and distribute that subtraction sign to each part of the binomial. So it would look like this: 21 minus y minus 2 equals 4. This problem requires you to collect like terms first. 21 and -2 can be combined together to a positive 19. Minus y equals 4. Next, we subtract 19 from both sides. -y equals -15. We can't leave our answer like this. We need to know the value for a positive y. So remember, when you can't see a coefficient, there's really a 1 there in front of the y, so we can divide both sides by -1 to get y equals 15. Now check our answer. 21 minus, this is 15 plus 2. We want to know if that does equal 4. Well, 15 plus 2 is 17, so 21 minus 17 does equal 4. And so our answer is y equals 15. Okay, next, it says solve the equation and check your solution. This is a special kind of equation called a proportion. A proportion is when you have two fractions with an equal sign between them. There's no other term besides the two fractions. Proportions you can cross multiply, and so that's how I'm going to work this problem. I'm going to multiply the numerator of the first fraction times the denominator of the second fraction. 7x times 9 is 63x. And then I'm going to do the same thing, except it's going to be the numerator of the second fraction times the denominator of the first fraction. 2 times 9 is 18. 63x divided by 63 simplifies to 1, so we'll just have our x. And instead of changing this to a decimal, I want you to leave your answer as a fraction so we can simplify this. We know that 9 goes into both of these. That simplifies to 2/7, and that's as far as it can simplify. So we'll say x equals 2/7. It's a little harder to check this because it is a fraction, but this will be 7 times 2/7 over 9. Does that equal the fraction 2 over 9? So if you focus in on this numerator, when you have the whole number 7 times the fraction 2 over 7, you can cross out those 7s. And so do you see that you are just left with 2 over 9 equals 2 over 9? And so that means 2/7 is the correct answer. Okay, take a look at this equation. This time we do have two fractions and the whole number 0. But notice that there's a plus sign in between the fractions and not an equal sign. So this is not a proportion. We cannot cross multiply. There's a method that I taught you in class called clearing the fractions. And if you miss class and need to freshen up on this skill, you can search YouTube for this concept. It's called clearing the fractions. We can rewrite this equation without using fractions, and that just makes it a whole lot easier to solve. The process to do this is to multiply the entire equation by the common denominator of the fractions. So right now the denominators are 4 and 2. A common denominator would be 4. So I'm going to multiply this entire equation by the whole number 4. And this is what it will look like. It will be 20x over 4 plus 4 over 2 equals 0. Because 4 is a whole number, you just need to multiply it to the numerator, and then of course 4 times 0 is 0. Now you can simplify these fractions. 20 divided by 4 is 5, so we'll have a 5x. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And what we've done is we've reduced this equation to a format that is easier to solve. We'll subtract 2 from both sides. So it'll be 5x equals negative 2. And then we divide both sides by 5. You have a value of x equals negative 2/5. To check this, 5 times negative 2/5 over 4 plus 1/2 equals 0. In the numerator, the 5's cancel. That leaves us with negative 2/4 plus 1/2 equals 0. Negative 2/4 simplifies to the fraction negative 1/2. And when you combine negative 1/2 with positive 1/2, it does equal 0. And so the value of x is negative 2/5. I want to show you an example like that one more time because these do get tricky. First thing is we're going to multiply by a common denominator. A common denominator is 24. Okay, so we'll have 24y over 6 minus, this time instead of multiplying it by 5, I want you just to write it as separate factors instead of multiplying, because we're going to go back and simplify with the 8. And it's easier if we didn't multiply 24 times 5 if we just sat them next to each other. And then we do multiply 24 times 2, which is 48. Okay, now we go back and simplify these fractions. 24 and 6 simplify to 4y. The 24 and the 8 simplify to 3 and 1. And then multiply the 3 times the 5, which is negative 15 equals 48. Now we'll solve this equation by adding 15 to both sides. 48 plus 15 is 63. So now I have 4y equals 63. Divide both sides by 4 to get y equals 63/4. We can keep that as an improper fraction. Now this answer will be hard to check. I'm actually going to plug it back into this green equation down here. This would be 4 times 63/4 minus 15 equals 48. These 4's would cancel. 63 minus 15, and that does equal 48. And so I can tell you that the final answer is 63 over 4. Some of these are harder to check than others. If you need to use your calculator to check, I'm okay with that. I'll be mindful when I'm picking out these problems for your tests because I won't let you use a calculator on your exam. But practice some of these. These are harder equations. So please let me know if you need help on this homework assignment.